Thank you very much.
When now you get back into division play, division play, I guess, with the team that Jameis and others have already had to prepare for. What challenge does that make it somewhat easier for him to see a team the second time, or are there other challenges they'll face as a result?
I don't know if I would use the word easier. Familiar. You're more familiar with the team when you play them the second time. Some teams change more than others. Some teams game plan different the second time. They play. We met on their personnel and stuff this morning. It comes back to you pretty fast from the first game. Oh yeah, remember how we did this? Remember how we did this? Remember how we did this? And some of that is things we got to do better. I'm sure they're saying the same thing. I mean, it's not perfect on either side, so you're making adjustments. But familiarity, I guess, would be the main term.
Talk about Jameis and how it seems like he learns quickly from mistakes in particular. Talk about that a little bit. He doesn't seem to make the same mistake.
No, that is one thing that is just. Again, I think I say this every week. Jimbo Fisher, that's one of the things that Jimbo told me is you'll be amazed at this guy. And I'm kind of thinking to myself, yeah, I've heard this before. Jameis, he is unbelievable how quick he can look at a game plan, take it out on the field, and just in a walkthrough, it really is impressive. I mean, that's one thing that has amazed me, and I'm not easily amazed. Yeah. That has really amazed me about how fast he can pick things up, and it's not just lip service when he gets up there and talks about learning and getting better. He is really into it, and he's a fast learner.
Have you noticed an ability, again, on mistakes, when he does something wrong, does he correct it quickly?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is there an example of that you can give us? Seen something?
There's probably several, but you're putting me on the spot right now, so I'm not good at that. I would just say the main thing is how much better. This is just an overall thing. How much better job he's doing taking care of the football.
Are you surprised at how he's developed as quickly as he has? I mean, again, you said, yeah, I've heard it all. I mean, granted, he's the #1 overall pick, but still, you get a little surprised that he's where he is?
Yeah, I don't know if surprised is the right word. Happy is probably a better word. Very happy.
Yes.
Hey, Coach, can you talk about the development of Cameron Brate? He's really come on for you guys.
Yeah.
Last couple weeks.
Yeah, we talked briefly about this last week. John Embry, our tight end coach, they had Cam. Cam played a little bit last year when we were looking at the cut-ups in the offseason. I was like, hey, I kind of like this guy. Coming from a smaller school and that sort of thing. But we have the other tight ends we liked a lot too. I mean, he was kind of sitting in that #4 spot, which is borderline if you're going to make the team. We also had Tim Wright. We got Tim Wright back. Now we got 5 guys. It's all kind of close. But, you see a lot of guys that are young and you sort of see that potential in them, but they're all missing a little something. So how quick do they develop? That's something they're missing. They have some things they're really strong at, but some other things not so much. And I mentioned this last week. I was worried sick when we had to put Cam on waivers and the Saints claimed him, and I was very happy that we were able to get him back. And anytime one player suffers, in this case Austin suffers, I don't know if that's the right word, but Austin's injury, another player has to step up. Cam's a great example of that. The more he's played, the better he's got, and it's now at the point where you're just, again, we're so thankful that we got him back.
Dirk, the offense was it was clicking in the first half, obviously last week. They started bringing some pressure in the second half. Was it just the team not picking up that extra pressure? Is that what disrupted things? And what do you want them to learn from that game?
Yeah, well, first off, in the first half, we only had 3 possessions, and we scored on all 3 of them, but we probably should have had 21 points. We had 12. That's a big gap. So even though we were moving the ball, we weren't scoring. What happened? Well, penalties took us out of one. There was what we told our guys after you looked at the tape is it was a game of missed opportunities. We had so many opportunities. Felt pretty good coming out of halftime. Second half, what happened? Those first 2 series, we went back-to-back 3 and out. We had a holding on the first play, got behind the chains. Go back to the Philly game, same thing. Think of that first drive of the third quarter. We overcame all that stuff. All of a sudden, we're behind the chains, 3 and out. The Colts are scoring. I think me included, we all got a little bit frustrated. Maybe got away from what we should have been doing. I probably should have ran the ball more. after those first 2 series. It wasn't so much that they brought more pressure, although with that said, give the Colts credit. They hurt us with some single rushes. We did not handle it as well as we have been handling it, and it wasn't just one guy. It was crazy. When we had pressure, when we had protection issues, we had guys wide open. When we had good protection, we either missed the throw, dropped the throw. It was like always something. And we just haven't had a whole lot of that. We've been able to put it together pretty well, and we got out of whack. We got to start giving the Colts some credit, but more than anything, missed opportunities by us.
You sense the guys are angry over this? I know Lovey kind of characterized this game this week as a must-win, a game you must win.
It's must. Yeah, it's must. But you'd have to ask them. I'm not putting anyone words in. And I told our guys my own emotion after a game. I wasn't angry. I was disappointed because we had been playing so much better. I was just disappointed because the opportunities were there for us. And heck, I love coaching those guys. Those guys play hard for us, play hard for themselves. We've been executing at a pretty good level. We just didn't play the way we've been playing. And then when you look back on the film and see the opportunities we missed, and it's taking nothing from the Colts. They beat us fair and square, but just not. We've been sort of ascending on offense, and we definitely plateaued a little bit. So, Coach made it crystal clear to the guys, where we're at going into this game. It doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure it out, but this is a big game.
Dirk, you guys have brought in Joe Hawley right to start the season. He had a healthy line. I know you had known him well, had coached him, but him being here has essentially allowed you guys to weather not only Evan being hurt, but now Allie as well.
Yep.
How much has he kind of exceeded even your expectations for what he can do here?
He hasn't exceeded my expectations at all because obviously I had him in Atlanta, and I'm a huge Joe Hawley fan. I was, when whatever happened there, he was coming off got hurt in the Minnesota game last year, a nasty knee injury, and coming off that. So, Joe wasn't 100%. Whatever happened there happened. We were kind of searching for a backup center is really what it came down to. And when Joe came available, I went to Coach and went to Jason and just said, look, we got a chance to get this guy. He may not be quite healthy yet, but he's going to get better. So, but Joe, I know what kind of player Joe is, and he's been a godsend to have him here. Like you said, he's helped us through 2 injuries.
Dirk, Donovan Smith seemed to struggle a little bit last week. Did you see it that way? And just talk about where he is right now.
I think Donovan is just a reflection of a lot of guys on offense. You could have said any one of 7 or 8 guys, and I'd give you the same answer. We missed opportunities. Donovan had his moments. I had my moments. I mean, go down the line. This guy. We all missed opportunities in that game. Donovan went up against a couple pretty good rushers. He actually did a pretty good job on 98, who's got 125 sacks in his career, something like that. But he struggled a little bit more against Cole. Why? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But I wouldn't really say struggle. We just didn't play the way we've been playing.
You said that you plateaued on offense a little bit. You've been going like this, and all of a sudden you plateau.
Yep.
When that's happening, what's the solution? I mean, you just go back and keep doing what you're doing. You have the confidence that hey, we just hit a hiccup this time.
Yeah, well, we're 11 games in, and there was positives in that game. I mean, we only turned it over once, and that was late in the game where Jameis kind of forced it. We still were explosive. We had 8 explosives. That's our goal. We still were good on 3rd down, 46%. That's our goal. As we said earlier, we did move the ball. Anytime you lose, you got your pluses and your minuses. We expect to win now. Okay, so I say we plateaued. We didn't win. We've won 2 in a row. We wanted to win 3 in a row, and now we want to win 1 in a row. So it's really not much more complex than that.
Dirk, you have a lot of young players starting with Jameis, and you mentioned Donovan and Allie and some guys, Humphreys, in their first year. They've played the equivalent of an entire college season.
Yeah.
What's your experience with just whether it's mental or physical, the grind now during these last 5 weeks?
Yeah, I think there's something to that. I definitely think there's something to that for young guys. The first time through a OTAs, training camp, preseason games, which, oh, by the way, they still hit hard. And now here we are, 11 games. I think there's definitely something to that. You know, what we talk to our guys about is, hey, you got 5 weeks left, all right, 5 weeks left. Think about that in the big picture of football, let alone life. I mean, 5 weeks is nothing. And, you know, we don't worry about 5 weeks right now. Worry about 1 week. You know, 5 weeks, what's done is done. We're going to, the record we have, we earn what we earn. So, but I think there is a little bit to that. All the people in the building that help the guys take care of their bodies, those guys are getting massages, they're getting treatment, the trainers, all that stuff. I mean, we're on top of that. Nutrition, rest. I mean, we're on top of it. But that's definitely there, and every team has it.
It's obvious that every player will say, I'm always trying to get better. In terms of Mike Evans and some of the drops he's had, are there some technical things that he's just got to get a little bit better at? He hasn't played a lot of football. He's only in his 4th year, really, and is that something he's going to have to work on throughout?
Sure. And as you just said, every player has things they have to work on. And I know you folks aren't always out there watching as much practice as maybe you'd like, or maybe you're glad you can't watch practice. But you know, Mike's been working hard. I mean, Andrew Hayes-Stoker, our receiver coach, and Mike, I mean, he's out there throwing in wet balls, high balls, low balls, balls on his knee, balls on his back. You know, Mike is one of the things. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. He struggled with a little bit with balls that were underthrown, right? Balls that were a little bit underthrown and behind him for whatever reason. You know, when you look at it on tape, maybe he's just not looking it all the way in. I think that's something that Mike can improve on. And you know, the other thing is, if Mike, on some of those balls, he's got the guy beat. I mean, he's got him beat. If he just slows down, the guy's going to run into him. We're going to get PI anyway. Mike, by the nature of his size, draws a lot of pass interference penalties. But I say that not being critical. Like when a guy drops passes, I'm trying not to be the guy over there saying, catch the damn ball, catch the damn ball. Trust me, he knows he should catch the damn ball. That's his job. But every player, we just talked about that, every player has things like that they're working on.
Coach, outside of Lovey's message to the team about cutting penalties, is there something that you talk to a team about specifically to try to cut the number that have hurt the Bucs?
Well, we're just trying to you're going to get penalties sometimes by playing hard, all right? And playing hard penalties, those are okay. We can live with those. We're trying to cut down on pre and post snap penalties, and then once we're running the ball, you know, some of our penalties come on runs where, you know, guys are engaged with their guy, and then Doug makes a cut, the defender reacts, and you just hold on a little bit too long. So we're trying to get them to understand when they got to let go. George Warhop was just talking about on a couple of our runs today, a couple certain types of runs. It might be a cutback run. Doug starts one way. Hey, when he starts to cut it back, you might need to let go. You know, in blocking, everybody's telling you, get your hands inside. The defense is telling their guys, get your hands inside. We're telling our guys, get your hands inside. Well, if you get your hands inside, you know what you're doing? You're grabbing. You're holding on those breastplates. And if your hands are inside, you don't get called. It's when your hands get outside, you get called. And that's pretty universal in the NFL. You know, we have too many penalties. We got to cut it down. Coach is talking about it. We're talking about it. I don't know what else I can say about that.
Dirk, I know you're not a big stat guy. What do you think of pass?
Let's get that clear for a lot. We got to get rid of it. I'm an okay stat guy.
You're an okay stat guy.
Let's just define it that way.
We now know that you're an okay stat
Thank
guy. What do you think of passer rating? Is that an accurate measure of a quarterback?
Yeah, it is.
It is?
In fact, it ranks about number 9 as far as most important things. It's about number 9 as far as winning and losing football. And I wish I could explain why, but one of those guys that's way smarter than me figures out the order. Okay, it starts with turnovers, number 1. Number 2 is explosive plays. And I'm not going to go through them all, so don't ask me. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Number 9, passer rating. And I tell our guys, passer rating is a team thing. We drop a pass, hurts our passer rating. We throw an interception, tip ball, hurts our passer rating. We make a great catch like Chuck did in Philly for a touchdown, helps your passer rating. So, yeah, it's important. It's number 9.
Is there another quarterback stat that's more important than passer rating?
Turnovers.
Obviously.
Yeah, turnovers. Yeah, I mean, you know, we could go through them all on another day when my timekeepers over here are cooking that.
Coach, last time you played Atlanta, Vincent Jackson wasn't there. and you didn't get a lot of production out of the wide receiver position, period. Would it be fair to say this is sort of a totally different look for the offense then with both guys back? this time
I
around?
wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say totally different. We are what we are. I mean, we're gonna try to play to our strengths, hide our weaknesses, but that was a good cliche right there. But as I said last week, getting Vincent back helps everybody. I mean, Vincent's a top-notch player. We need him. We can do more things with him. He's a playmaker, so we have every reason to believe we should be better off on offense with Vincent.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir.